Hello, power couples. We're back. It's Derek and Joy, and we change everything. And we're back with a new episode.
All right, I am super excited. As y'all know, the last two episodes, I have had my family with me. Well, just in case if y'all didn't know, I had two sisters, and guess what? This is their other sister, and I am super excited. It's nothing like family supporting family, family that can share the wealth of being married, right? Being
Right.
married.
Absolutely.
So I have the pleasure to introduce the Duncans, and I'll let them tell you whatever they want you to know about them. Have it.
Actually, it's an honor for us to come onto your podcast, and it's good meeting you, Derek. Enjoy. Hadn't seen you in a little while, so thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Then that was my husband, Daryl, that was just talking. So that's okay. That's what we here to compliment and complete each other. So I am Nita, Bernita, but short, you can call me Nita. I am Nita Duncan. Daryl and I have been married. We're going to get into that now, but 37. We just celebrated our 37th year anniversary this month. Praise God. So yes. And we're excited. I was telling Joyce, it's a little I would say out of the comfort zone, but it's not out of comfort zone for me to talk. But this is our first time doing something like this. But we're honored and counted a privilege and blessing.
Right. I really appreciate you saying yes because you didn't hesitate. You said, "Let me get with Daryl to see what day works best for him," and it means so much to me because this was a vision that God had for Derek and I, and everyone that I've came in contact with has been so willing and has been so open, and that means very, very much so supportive, and that means more than everything. That's how you know that God is all in this thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna dive deep a little bit, and congratulations on 37 years. 37 years. Wow.
Yes.
So in this season of your life, give me one word that describe being married or what married.
Honor.
Wow.
Honor.
Okay.
Stability.
Stability.
Oh.
Honor and stability.
Okay.
Honor and what? So what?
Let me elaborate.
Yeah, could you please?
Well,
Just a little bit. You ain't got to go.
well, that's fine. Honor encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses trust, love, stability. There's so much in honor, um, loyalty. It just there's a lot within that word honor.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Joy for me, and Daryl will tell you, and you should know me well enough to know that when you ask those questions, say just one word. Ooh wee, that's a challenge for me. So honestly, well, I say, stability and like he's saying, honor. I mean, I, understand where he's coming from because he shows that and displays that all the time. Like it's an honor for him to be my husband or my protector, my king, or honor to have me, it says
That's
wife.
what I got from it, but I wanted him
Yeah.
to put it in his own words, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
There you go,
but I know that's what that's what he
Yeah.
means by that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you say stability, if someone was watching this and they say she said the word stability, what does she mean by that?
Well, stability for me, a lot of times, people in terms of being in relationships or whether it's being married or dating, they are searching for stability in the wrong places or looking for it or someone that cannot give it to them. They're not able to. I can say it definitively. I can say it proudly. I can say it with surety. I mean, and of course, just not because some people could have still been married like us over 35 years or what have you, and can't say that. But I'm thankful to be able to say there is stability in our relationships, stability in our trust for one another, stability in just knowing that we have each other's back.
Yeah.
Always.
And can I just add something to that?
Absolutely.
Because stability is like, it's a credit to both, because I remember 37 years ago. I mean, we dated for 2 years basically before we got, was it
2.5?
2.5 years before we got married. But I was always, that was my goal, was to create stability for someone that I loved. Like I always said, hey, look, you're going to drive the best car even if I have to walk to work. That's stability. Or we're going to buy a house and we're going to work our way up, and we're going to make sure that we do it in steps and stages, creating that stability for each other. More is better. We won't have to worry as much if we have stability. We were together when we had no money. We were together when we had some money, but we had stability.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, so you mentioned the Big 37, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we want to celebrate that and commend you all for maintaining that stability. You know what I mean? And this on in 37 years of marriage. So what would you say would be a key factor in you being able to maintain you all's marriage throughout the 37 years?
Key factor, our faith.
Yeah.
I'll start with that. Is definitely key. Joy's grandmother, my aunt, and my mother were like best friends. They were sister-in-laws. But she know how that was instilled in us early on, just the power of prayer. And that was a foundation laid in my life very long time ago. But the power of prayer and so, like I said, my faith is just not in Nita, but it's in my Heavenly Father and in God. And then always asking for His guidance and His direction. So faith has been key for, I would say, our longevity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good answer too. Because I guess for me, when I think about faith, I always relate it to have faith is also you're believing in God, so then you're also believing in your own ability to be able to carry something out as well.
Right.
Does that mean because you're trusting in God to carry you? Yeah.
Yes. And with you saying that, Derek, before I was just asking the question, you saying that faith in God and belief in one another to carry things out, just our growth over the years, which you are supposed to and you should grow together.
Absolutely.
That was a journey, of course, just building that trust, building that trust and that faith in one another or each other, learning one another. I mean, we'll probably get into this later, but I was just thinking about Duro. How do I get to that? Duro you always had like a passion for automobiles and I would say real estate even before becoming a realtor. Absolutely. But getting to that point of just being able to trust him and let him be him, he earned that trust and reputation by his actions and just the things that he did. I mean, just as an example, Duro could do stuff like, he was working for UPS and he out there delivering packages, but sometimes he'd come home with a car and he like on my route, I came across this car. Okay. I had to get used to him doing a lot of things that he did and then realize it was just, he was a good judge of character and it was building wealth.
Yeah.
I didn't see it a lot, and if that makes sense.
Derek and Joy, I had to prove that I was able to maintain sustain, be accountable when I was doing these things. Because she's right. I would go, but see, I would buy stuff and sell stuff. I'd go buy a $3,000 car, $5,000. At that time, cars didn't cost that much. So, but I had to be a good steward, so to speak, of when I was out there doing it. I still do those things now. But now she's gotten to the point where she'll just like, I always involve her in a, hey, babe, I'm getting ready to go. I'm going to go get this motorcycle. I like this trike that I saw online. She won't ask me how much is it. She won't ask me. I'll tell her everything.
Yeah.
And now she's gotten to the point where she says, yeah, whatever you want to do. Because I've proven myself. I went out there and squandered our money and act like it's okay.
Right.
Because it's not. But getting back to the faith question, and we'll move on. I guess we're just a guest, but
you're good.
This is what we're touching on. It's a big thing in relationships because it can be a point of contention for people when it comes to that faith element, as far as having the faith in your partner to be able to carry out what they say they're capable of doing when you don't see any evidence of them being able to do it. So it's you walking out on faith that okay, say he's gonna do it, but
you know what? I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. We have sometimes been a misunderstood couple. When I first met her, I met her at a gas station that I never go to.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But we just so happened to be there in that space at that time, and she spewed her phone number out to me after I kept begging for it, but it was so fast I had to remember it. I didn't have any pen out like that. We didn't have cell phones, so I couldn't do nothing like that. But what I did was, when we're talking about faith, the first thing I did, I was on my way to my brother's house, and I told him, I said, I just met my wife.
Wow.
Told him I just met my wife, and so I knew that was heavy then for me to tell my brother that. I never told him anything like that before, and I never thought like that before, but I felt it. I felt it right here. And so when you talk that, you're talking about a person that is going to be a good parent to your children, a good wife to you, and you're looking at longevity. You're not looking at getting married to get divorced.
Right.
You're looking at strengthening this thing. And she's everything that I thought she was and more. She's a great woman, so I just wanted to put.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's good stuff, man. Good
Yeah.
Listen, when you said that about faith and trusting and all that, I had to look at Derek because that's why I'm here today in South Carolina. All I've known was Mobile, Alabama for 37 years. And he said,
look at
that's
that.
all.
Yeah.
That number 37, right?
That number.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is what we're going to do. Well, I knew for a fact that he wasn't coming back. Like I knew when he took that last job assignment, when he left, it was just something like, you know what, Joy, you better get your stuff together. You're gonna lose your husband.
Yeah.
So I get it. And I think we as women tend to not sometimes if we're not in control, because we seem to feel like we know everything. We're not in control. It's a little bit harder. But anyways, next question. All right. If you could go back to your newlywed self, what advice would you say?
Okay, if I can go back to my newlywed self, I would say to myself that I guess one thing I would say to my newlywed self is we made the right choice.
Yeah.
Definitely, we made the right choice. No regrets.
Yeah.
Looking forward to just continuing, to build on what we have. But I would just say I definitely made the right choice. If there were ever any doubts, or Daryl and I somewhat came from opposite ends of
our
the spectrum,
backgrounds
are totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
So that makes me feel good to say she made the right choice, because Yeah, man, when I say I came from the other side of the tracks, I'm just saying, we do come from two opposite
ends.
ends
Yeah,
of,
totally.
and so
And when we mean by that, just a little bit, we didn't attend the same schools. I was always accustomed to living in a family with two parents.
yeah.
I was reared and raised in church. None of that existed, for him.
Yeah.
Um,
But you know what though? But the cool part about it is my goal was always to be that better person where I learned what not to do and I learned what to do to make things better for us. And it was a lot of what not to do from, what my dad did, I learned what not to do. I'm just putting it out there, and I think that certainly helped our relationship.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I could have took on some habits that, we wouldn't be together if I was trying to mimic myself after, say, my dad, bless his soul,
Right.
just telling the truth,
But yeah, that would be me for the newlywed stuff. Like I said, I would just say, yeah, I've made the right choice, and knowing that I'm with. I told him anyway. Recently, we were out of town and visiting, and just having dialogue and different things. And I mean, Gerald, he just kept getting, I would say, praise, so to speak, and kudos or what have you. And I was like, ooh, I gotta start treating him better. Like somebody told him he was a man of the century. I was like, really? I was like,
I appreciate that.
So, like
you hear that?
I'm saying it. I'm saying it today. I'm like my newlywed self. Yes. You have married an extraordinary man. He's extraordinary. He is great. You made the right choice and the right decision.
Humbly, all you can do is
yes. Treat him well.
That's
yeah.
Right.
Don't.
All right, so let's change gears a little bit. So balancing business and marriage. All right. So as entrepreneurs, how did you learn to separate or blend, therefore, business life and marriage
life? Oh,
you want me to answer?
Yeah, you can answer. I know that I can just say that it worked for us. It don't work for a lot of people, but it worked for us, and we were always we were just not only call ourselves that couple, but we were always business partners. Mm-hmm. We always knew our place in our business, and so I think that was how we were able to continue on with working together in our business. That we always, knew our place. But you can.
Yes, and I would, and when you say balancing business as entrepreneurs, I know we're both realtors, and we've done, I would say, in terms of entrepreneurship, I've had several ventures long time ago, which I think one was, I was head of a catering service, and I also had a daycare service, because before my kids get in school, it was important to me, to, raise them and not send them in a daycare and what have you. So which helped a number of other families as well, relatives of ours, for me to get certified and be in home, do daycare in home. So that was another thing that I did. And he always worked a full-time, a job and for benefits and so forth. And
we've always owned real estate, which is a big part of our portfolio.
Yes.
Okay.
So being business and like I was setting it up. So all of that, Daryl that was short-lived for me with the catering, but he always supported me in whatever I did. We would talk about it, pray about it. He supported me. Matter of fact, he was like the best help that I could have had. And then we realized that some jobs.
That good. That kitchen, I was chopping them onions and.
Be nice. Right. No. Well, what we learned there was, you guys learned that Daryl had some jobs when he was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And he was actually working in some upscale
Upscale
restaurants back then.
Okay.
That was crucial for when I ended up doing a catering business, because like some you get help. Sometimes you tell people what to do, but they have to keep asking you, what should I do next? What should I do next? You can just boom, he just get it done. And then so that went well for us for the time that I did that. Like I said, in the daycare stuff, that was great because I could stay at home with the kids and raise the kids, teach them all that good stuff. He supported that. But then when we got into real estate, Duro was still working a full-time job, UPS, and he's always like looking into real estate. He got his license first, and it was hard for him to juggle doing real estate on the side and full-time UPS. So he's like, baby, you got to get your license. So within 6 months after he started, then I got my license. So in terms of, like Duro said, we've always looked at ourselves as business partners.
So let me interject for a second.
Yes.
So what did that process look like when he'd had his license already, then he asked her, hey baby, go and get yours. So in that process there, what did that look like for you all? Was it like, were you helping her like maybe study for the exam?
Well, to the best I could help her, but she pretty much did it herself.
Okay.
During that time, that was 1999, 2000.
Gotcha.
Internet was not really by far wasn't where it is today. When I got my real estate license, I was sitting at the kitchen table with cassette tapes. And
I did the same thing.
Yeah, and she had to do the same thing. So
we did distance learning versus going into a classroom.
Yes.
Okay.
But she did it pretty much herself, and she got them pretty quick after I got mine, which worked out really, really good because I was swamped with the business at the time, and I knew that I could have went in the office and said, hey, can you partner with me in real estate? We had a great office with great agents, but I knew that if she could get her license, she was going to be the best one for me in that business. So I waited and worked hard, waited for her to get her license, which didn't take her long to do. So.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to imply that she may have needed to or anything like that, because I can see that you had that vision, like, you know what, I want my wife to do this with me. I want us to conquer this thing together, which is cool. I was just wondering, this was more or less for the viewers to kind of see some examples of how somebody actually was able to blend their marriage and their business together and get them some concrete stuff they could have done if they find themselves wanting to do the same things, and you'll be able to detail what that looked like for you all and how it looked, That's what I was kind of fishing for.
As I'm sitting here listening to you all talk, I can really tell that it's a partnership type deal. And that's big in marriage, to have someone that can actually be your partner, that y'all can do things together and understand each other. And it's just amazing to me because I know you've been married 37 years and everything haven't been smooth sailing. You know what I mean? But I can tell, like, when you first met her, you knew she was going to be your wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because it is true, and we talked about this all the time on the podcast, a man know when he's ready to get married, and a man know who his wife gonna be.
That's right.
And it's just amazing to hear.
I tell you, a man to change for the woman that he wants.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right. And I like to call it a love partnership, not just a partnership, because I can't imagine not being with her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And from the love standpoint. So I could have partnered up with somebody in the office, without loving them the way I love her, of course. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more personal along with the partnership. But yes, you're right to your point. Yes.
I love that.
And
so
what?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say what Gerald also had alluded to earlier. Prior to us getting our real estate license, we had always invested in real estate. Well, always. I shouldn't say always, but we did it. We had made a decision already to be real estate investors.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. So we had already had learned how to operate somewhat as business partners, doing that, making that decision to like, well, let's first get a multifamily property. Then we can have someone help us pay the rent, or pay the mortgage. What I mean? We rent out one side, and so that we set some goals, and initially when we were investing in real estate. So we're like,
and we had no problems administratively, which is important. That goes back to what we asked, you guys asked earlier in your questions, and we answered trust and honor, and that stuff just automatically fell in place from an administrative standpoint.
So was that a collective decision for you all to invest? Because I know that may not be an easy thing for people to take their money and invest in something because it's a bit of a crapshoot. Because there's so many, variables out there and all types of stuff can go wrong.
Yes.
People can tell you they got something over here. They tell you they got a bag of gold, you turn around and be a bag of salt. I mean, it's all types of stuff. So was that an easy process for y'all to say, what, let's go ahead and go invest this money we worked so hard for?
I would say yes. I was going to also say, just like we would pray about everything. And so what we've also learned over the years, and also say to other people, you get to where you mature and learn that, Lord, thank you for closing that door.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're thankful for closed doors as much as you are for open ones. So I brought that up to say this: the very first house that he was going to buy, they denied the loan. And people are like, that don't make any sense. You have this checklist. You met all the criteria, except it's like one of the conditions was to be on your job for full time for 12 months or a year. He probably had been with UPS 11 months, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was just like, nope, sorry. Well, some people are saying, we think that's discrimination. If I was you, I'd file a lawsuit, And I'm just like, well, it is what it is. But kind of. So he didn't fight it. He just said, we prayed about it. Well, guess what? So later we realized that God closed that door because that was a single family house that was going to be our first house. And I want to say it was your friend, Ellie, you ended up learning he bought a house and he had to do a 2-family first before us.
Maybe so, or we just...
Okay. However it was, that door closed that he didn't get approved to buy the single family. But then it made us start shifting direction and say, wait a minute, we should be buying a 2-family or something so that we can, so that we looked at as, wow, Lord, thank you for intervening with that. And that shift.
And Derek, you're right. It was a crapshoot. Because every time we bought a house, we used all of our resources to get the house. For the first 4 houses, basically, that we bought was putting all of our resources in there to make sure that we can acquire it.
Was that stressful? I'd imagine it would.
It wasn't actually.
No,
it wasn't stressful because we didn't worry about it. I just think that we were so comfortable with each other that we were going to make sure we were okay whether we had something or nothing at all.
Wow.
We were going to make sure we were okay. And so I've always told her it's going to be okay. At whatever state we were in, it's going to be okay. And guess what? It's been okay, brother.
It's been all right, huh?
It's been all right.
Wow. I love that. Because again, that's where that trust comes from. That's where that faith comes from. And understanding is everything. And it seems like it's been truly one thing that y'all said at the table and say, hey, this is how it's going to be. Understanding is
I just heard Nita say that she chose right. Derek, it sounds like you chose right too. Because I tell you what, I know that's not no easy decision for no woman to say, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and invest it. And I'm going to just sit right here and trust and believe that you're going to come through with that thing.
That's right. And what we're talking about now is really a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
We could really, really get into some stuff, but you were good.
And also, Derek, where in marriages and relationships, like I said, it's the trust and respect and compromising and the sacrifices, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we bought the first duplex. Okay, good, we did this. So I'm like, okay, the next house would be a single family house. Daryl probably said, "Nah, I think we should get another duplex before we get a single family."
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, we got to steal," because the first one we chose the upper unit was smaller, so we were like, we'll just let somebody else take
I'm taking mental
lower
notes.
unit.
So can I rewind for 1 second and ask you why you decided to do the multifamily versus the single family in this instance when you first started out there?
Well, it just happened where the door was closed on the single family.
Gotcha.
I really wanted it, but I didn't fight it when they denied the loan. The duplex, I think
we talked about income producing something. You realized it after.
Yeah, and I found
that's what I remember.
I found it by way of we used to get these real estate books. I believe that's how I found that second property that the first property. And so and then we did have the understanding, because like you said, I had a friend of mine that owned a duplex, and we knew that, hey, look, at least this will pay the mortgage.
He'll pay the mortgage.
He'll pay the mortgage.
Have that other income.
And then that was just turned into a snowball type situation for us. That just
so you're getting the two doors with the idea that one door will pay for the other.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So like I said, we did the first one. Then I'm thinking the next house, single family, but he said, no, we should do another two family. Have that, keep building more income. Coming in. So the second one, and then I think the third one, we honestly, I don't remember if the third one was a single family, because he also.
What I did, we end up with about 19 or 20 doors or something like that. But I also bought some, rehabbed them, and sold them. And I can't
Not right away, did we?
Not
right away, did we? Did we always rent them out?
Yeah, we rented them out, but we still didn't keep them, but for like 6 months. So we rented them for income producing, but we ultimately didn't keep them. Something she didn't know.
And one other thing before I forget it, like you're talking about that trust, and then bringing it and putting all things together about when we, business partners, in your marriage, and a lot of times we know that finances, is usually one of the top 3 things that can break up marriages, right? Or cause conflict. But I had to realize that Dural was more like we talking about you're putting your building, together. You realize you're a team, and then your strengths and weaknesses. I had to get to a point where I realized that Dural's strength in terms of investing in real estate, I had to step back. By then he built that trust, I had to step back. I didn't have the vision. I wasn't a visionary, so to speak, in terms of going and looking at properties. Sometimes it could be distressed properties that need work. I didn't have a vision for that. And I'm like, no.
It's like, you want to come see this one?
No.
Before I fix it up? She's like,
no. So I realized later, I would say where we help the God, because I'm like, I was saying no a lot, and it could have been a great investment, but I just couldn't see past all the work that needed to be done. Right. And for him, he was like, this ain't nothing, because he's also very, very handy. And so I had to get to a point where I said, you know what? I'm not going to even go look anymore. When you make the decision, I'll just be at the closing table.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that our viewers get out of this. You really need to trust your partner, and really have faith in your partner, because I just know me. I'll be like, I don't see it. But where I am now, and it's taken me a long time to get here. I mean, we've been married 11 years, and just in the last few years, it's like, okay, I trust you. But it ain't that I trust him, I trust God. And I trust the God in him, that he will. You get what I'm saying? He will make sure, and we keep God at the center of our marriage, just like I know y'all do. You have to.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
That's huge. Yep, that's huge.
So, what boundaries or practices have helped you keep marriage first, even while running the business?
I guess I can say we never. Well, we took our business serious.
Right.
We ran our business like a business,
Business.
and people from the outside saw that because we had our own real estate firm. We had it for 3 years, and we didn't sell it because we needed to. We sold it because it was a hot commodity, and someone walked in our office that had the money that wanted to buy it, and so we sold it, and putting God into everything. That was 2008. That's when the market was crashing, and so it just so happened that this guy walked in the office that we knew they had a real estate firm around the corner, and they wanted to buy our firm. And it didn't take long to make the decision to go ahead and sell it.
Wow.
But yeah, that was the reward that we had from treating our business like a business.
And I think that's key too, because some people may not go into it as that, you husband and wife, but sometimes you kind of let that get in the way. But I guess business first,
Yeah,
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 Yeah, like you said, but he would, between, like you said, setting the boundaries and kind of alluded to earlier was trying to stay in your lane, learning
yes,
from each other just to stay in
yes,
your lane. Like you said, when had, like I said, real estate investors, then we got a real estate license selling, for other people, doing something. We also, like I said, had the firm, which was another level or something different. But then just again, there's still that trust, and then he was the principal broker and,
yes,
just knowing each other's what our duties and our roles were. I was kind of like operated as the office administrator. And, I would try to actually make, I don't know if you remember this, but I would try to make sure, like when we were in the office, that I would just refer to you as Mr. Duncan,
I think so. Yeah,
and so
yeah,
I just felt like that was just being professional, or like not as
right,
my husband,
yeah,
but he was my principal or
yeah.
managing broker, like,
right.
so we were in partnership, but it was just like, just letting him do what he did and then trying to, of course, stay in our
Yeah.
lane, stay in our lane.
Okay.
I like that. Let's talk about something real quick that we probably should have discussed in the beginning, but it's okay. So you all live in Tennessee, but you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right?
Mhm.
Both of you, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about the move. What made you all decide to move to Tennessee?
Well, we were on family vacation when we stopped here in Tennessee, but
Okay.
her brother Mark lives
Uh-huh.
in Murfreesboro. Also, we got Wayne Rogers. They live in Murfreesboro, and so we were able to. That helped, I think, in us making our decision to say, hey, that may not be a bad move to move to Murfreesboro, but truly, we stopped here twice. We stopped here once going, and at that time, I think we went to
And
Alabama,
Atlanta next.
Atlanta, Florida. We went to
Mm-hmm.
several other states.
Mm-hmm. Stopping.
And coming back, we stopped here again, and then ultimately, just when we just decided, hey, it was time to go ahead and move. And I think that too, with our kids being at the age they were at the time, it was a perfect opportunity to put them in a better position with their schooling and moving into a university town, so uh,
How old were they?
One was in fifth grade, the other one
yeah,
was eighth
8 and
grade.
11.
So
Oh, that is the perfect time. Okay, I
Yeah,
see why you said
yeah, they
that.
were 8
Okay.
and 11. Yeah.
So you all were married in Wisconsin,
Yes.
we
and then
were,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
We started we born and raised there.
Yeah. We
We've
got
been here 22 years in Tennessee now.
Yes.
So we've been in Tennessee 22 years.
Yeah. We got
Okay.
married in 1988. We
Gotcha.
moved here in 2003.
I was
Gotcha.
1 year
Okay.
old.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
me, Joy, I remember like a little, like I say, a different perspective, like the moving thing. We were doing very well in our career in real estate in Wisconsin. We were really doing well. We had added another member to our team. We ended up had a third person and doing very well. And like
Yes.
Daryl said, but it got to a point, and you talk about balancing the budget. It was very demanding, and it was sometimes hard to shut off, And I remember, if you remember this, I remember you saying, when the kids' spring break come, we out of here. We got to get out of here. We going on vacation.
Okay.
And you was like, at the time, you had no cell phone, so you ain't taking no beeper, your pager, nothing. We are like going on vacation.
Yeah.
And I want to say we had also started talking about buying a different house in Milwaukee, because we were needing more tax write-offs. I mean, you get to the point, you're doing well, making more money, and both self-employed, paying a lot of money, taxes. I would just say, so but anyway, that's what I recall. Just that we were going on vacation. We definitely were. We were just shut everything off, shut it down, and we going, and which we did. But I know that again, it was I think just something was different about that trip. That typically, I think we were sharing the driving. That trip, he just did all the driving, all of it. And he later just told me just how he would just looking at the mountains and the scenery and just having different thoughts. He talked to me when we came back about, what do you think about moving? And I'm thinking, well, we've already talked about moving. And I'm thinking within Milwaukee. He said, no, I mean to another state. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, because I had left, by that time, I had left UPS. So it was wide open, And once we decided we were going to move here, I drove down here, took my real estate test, and got my license. And I think I didn't pass the test the first time, but I had to do it again. End up getting the license and ultimately coming down here. And I think Tennessee has been real good to us, and it's been real good to our kids. It was a good move. It was a faith move. It was one of those things that ultimately you still had to have faith. God had to do this for you, because wasn't nobody. He's our source of who we counted on to make sure that we will make it through this.
Okay, so the mob and nothing went after you in Milwaukee, and then it forced you out of there and nothing like that. So
right, that's right.
I like to bring that up because a lot of people, and me, especially me moving out of Alabama for 30, I think that has been the best decision that we could have ever made. Just kind of being away, and it's just us. We don't know anyone here other than the people that we work with, so we're kind of, I would say God had to separate us for a little while so that we could become more in tune. And this is where We Change Everything came from. This is where this ministry came from. And we're able to just literally walk in our calling with no distractions.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah.
So I like for people to hear the different story. Even when Tasha and Joel said how they moved, and Tanisha and Ty how they moved, and then you all get on and saying, moving sometimes is the best thing that you can do.
It was.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think people need to know it's okay. Do it. But trust God while doing it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Once he sets his mind, and I just, like I said, I'm see the wheels spinning. We get back, he mentioned it to me, and I'm like, okay, to another state. I thought about that, but then I was like, always, let's pray about it. Well, next thing you know, Joy, at the office that we had, of course, a home office plus another office away from at the real estate office. His desk was cleaned, and I come in once, and I'm like,
yeah, God knows He put it on you when it's time to go, And
you're like, I'm just gonna work from home.
Your ideals and your goals and your dreams, it just won't align with a lot of people's. Derek, you're the man of your household, and you're gonna be making some decisions that I've made very unorthodox decisions, man. I have, but she stuck with me, even through those, and they worked. It worked. They weren't ideals that someone else had or that we copied from over there, or it was our ideal that God gave us that wisdom to say, hey, that little still voice said, no, do it this way. It was like, do it that way? For real? Do we really? But it's a reward in it. It's a reward in it. And that's what we've been doing. And I thank God that she we hadn't had to fight for her to say yes. You know, she really has been really good about saying, okay, um, that's fine. You know, let's do it. If you think that's what we should do, then let's do it. But I had to prove myself to her that these decisions that I'm making, they're just not off the cuff like decisions. Yeah, baby, let's pray about this. But God is speaking on this, and we need to go ahead and do this. You know, and so
I was laughing, thinking about. Remember back when you? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I thought you was finished.
I was done. I'm done.
Sorry. I was thinking about when you had bought. Remember, you bought a boat, and we lived in a 2-family house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we only have like 3 months of summer in Wisconsin. And
gotta try everything.
You got boats in the yard. What we need with this boat? And you know, I mean, but it's just something he wanted. You know, a lot of times, you know, I would buck against stuff. You know,
young
third car.
Go through those phases. You know, you gotta go through those. You make some room for waste. You know, but I did sell it and get my money back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
there you go.
Make room for waste. Joy, you gotta let them make room for waste. You know.
I have.
I'm saying there you
go. Well, and what I like about him though, and I appreciate it, because like Derek, you said something there about, you know, things you'll do for the one you love. You know, I may not be repeating it verbatim, but like me thinking back to that, and I bucked against it, like, you already bought the boat, why do you need this boat? Why, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, but like he said, he ended up, you know, eventually just like, let me sell it. And it was, I know, just because, maybe not because he wanted to, because he was just listening to me saying, well, you know, why we need this or whatever, you know, or he go get a third car. I was against having a third car for a very, very long time. I'm like, this was before the kids were driving. We're like, it's just two drivers. We got 2 vehicles. We don't need a third one, you know? So he finds stuff and he'd have to, like, let's say he didn't have to, but like I said, again, a man that with wisdom, exercising wisdom and love, that he would just like, let me listen to my wife, you know, and know that's why he made a lot of decisions he wanted, because he could have just been like, you know what, it ain't hurt nothing, I can keep this, but he didn't do that. You know,
you're absolutely right. That's a wise man, because he knows a happy wife is a happy life. You know,
He's
a very wise man.
It's a time to get stuff, and it's a time to get rid of stuff. You know,
that's right, bro.
The book of Ecclesiastes, it'll tell you about all those things. You know, time to do this, it's time to do that. You know, you got to listen and pay attention and listen to your spouse.
That's a perfect segue, because that's what I've been doing. I've been listening to y'all, and I've been paying attention. The 2 words that y'all came out with were honor and stability. And through the conversation, I've been sitting here listening to the fact that the stability wasn't something that was just born. It was something that was built.
Yes.
There you go.
You know,
right.
And it was built through your efforts.
Yeah.
And the honor also was something that was built because because she trusted in you to go out and do the things that you said that you would do.
Yes.
And that's why it became an honor to have her by your side.
That's
it. You know, and so I think that was a beautiful thing. So now, with having said all of this, what do you think the legacy? What do you want the overarching legacy to be that you want to leave to your kids, as far as which is your kids and family and loved ones?
I think legacy. I've always wanted my kids to be able to look at us, and look at me particularly as the father, and say, wow, I remember when he did this, or he did that, or he told us this, or he told us that. Because this is stuff that I didn't have as a child. I couldn't remember what my father did for me. So I wanted to be the opposite. Yeah, I want them to remember that, you know, take this wisdom and you walk with it for the rest of your life. Take these things that I tried to teach you and walk with them and then acquire more, you know, information, wisdom, you know, pray for those things, you know, and everything else, it'll be added.
Yeah. I would say, add to that. Yeah. Just, let's say, for people to look at you or your life, your marriage, your relationship, and see, you know, and have hope, you know, and admiration,
Yes.
And we've had people over the years, and I don't take it lightly, that have said, you know what, I've been divorced before, and I was like, I'll never get married again, but I was been observing y'all. You don't know who's watching, just saying, now I have a different take on marriage. I have a different opinion. I just might, give it another try.
Yeah.
Or it's good to see that there's, say positive role models or what have you, or have a good marriage, or like see people that love one another, respect one another, honor one another, work together, and can build, together. But so that would be for me.
And I will tell you this: I'm not one to get on podcasts and meet Bernita when she said, Joy, she wants to do this podcast. I was a little grumpy. Okay, I'll do it.
If you want me to.
But this is the deal. I remember, Joy, when you was 2 years old, and so this is just, it's bigger than me and Bernita. When you talk legacy, not only for our children, but I want you to be able to. I remember him. I remember Bernita's husband back in when, and so we hadn't seen each other in a long time. I mean, I've seen you since you were 2 years old, but I'm saying this is an opportunity for you to say, I kind of got to know him when we did that. Me and my husband did that podcast with them.
Right.
So this means something to us to be here with you guys as well from a legacy standpoint.
Likewise.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I'm getting chills over here.
Yeah, that's good.
So, what encouragement would you give to couples who are just getting married? Or just starting out in marriage?
Yeah.
Starting out in marriage.
Before you even do it, make sure that you hear from on high that don't, it's not a game. Like, it's not like you're not just playing house.
Right.
There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being married. And so the advice that I would give is, hey, become one. Don't get together and start talking about, hey, you pay the light bill and I'll pay the gas bill. And then you pay for your own car note, and man, there's no future in that. I mean, if you do it, and it may work forever, but I just don't think that would have ever worked for us. I like coming home, put it all in one basket, and not have to worry about it. One less thing I ever had to worry about was her. I just spent $50,000 on this whatever, and it didn't make a difference. I mean, it's let's be a little bit more reasonable than that, And then you're talking newlyweds,
Right.
I spent $1,000 on, when you only have $500. So,
Right.
it's just make everything one, and have that understanding that, hey, we do want to get to the next level. The only way we can do that is to work together. Work together and become one.
That's right.
Yes. And I said, I guess I would add to that, there's just probably some of what you've already said, just be intentional about being in it for the long haul,
That's it.
Don't just, I want to get married because I've never been married and I want to go through
Right.
all of the stuff that go with it. But I'm out of there if he act crazy, you know what I mean? But just don't go on those with, I think that may have been Tanisha and them on their podcast. I think they may have said, I think, if I'm right, in the beginning, divorce was not an option. They talked about that.
Right.
So just be intentional, being there for the long haul, honor and respect each other and allow room for growth.
Yes.
Realize that, we want to be growing until we leave here. So allow room for growth, and put the relationship, you all's relationship, it should be over and above all of your individual needs and wants. That what's best for the relationship.
That's right.
not just what I want, fulfilling my needs or my wants, but what's best for the relationship. Also,
sacrifice, right?
Yeah, sacrifice. I also learned this probably in the last few years. I don't know. Focus on being a peacemaker. You don't have to be right. I think I just kind of learned that these last few years, maybe. I'm still working it.
Did you learn that?
You think I'm learning? I feel like I've learned it.
Always right. She should have. I'm gonna get her a hat made saying, "I'm always right." No,
no, I'm good, but I'm focusing on it though more.
Right.
I may not be totally there, but because it'd be like I'm gonna have the last word, and I know I'm right. You know what I mean? And but it's like no, it's more important for us to have peace. It's more important for us to have peace than for me to be right. No,
I felt that.
I just been learning that.
Well, she just been learning that. Yeah.
You don't think I'm improving?
I think you're improving though. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
I've been trying. I'm like, dang.
But hey, I'll take that as being the 20% as opposed to being the 80%
rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's something that can be fixed. We can work on that together.
Right.
You should any deficiencies you have in your relationship, you should be able to work on it together.
That's right.
So so it's all good. And if that's all I got to worry about, hey, it's no big
deal. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You can work on it.
If you got to be somewhere at 8:00 and you want to get up at just tell you got to be there at 7. You'll be on time. Just be smart. Smart. Right. Get it. You gotta be clever.
Your strength. And you just sparked a thought. Like us as business partners and in real estate. So we're working a client and you're working that client and their buyer client, and you have to show them properties. If that we're working around their schedules. So if they can only see, like I gotta see houses between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. We automatically know just I will be we know it's gonna be Durham. It's the one that's gonna be taking them to look at houses because Bernita is not gonna get out the door on time to do that.
When you work with somebody for 37 years or 11 years, you develop an understanding.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like you let's see. You just you're in tune with each other. You know how to communicate with each other. And it was something else I was going to say that I lost my chain of thought on it, but I'll come back and revisit it. Yeah.
So what's one piece of advice that you will give entrepreneur couples for a thriving marriage and business?
Again, you always say the trust, define your roles, know that you are a team.
Yeah. And you go in it together. I know some couples that they have a business, but it's really only one person that's running the business.
Right.
And so you miss that level of understanding. It's not full circle. It's like half circle. And so I would say that as a couple, as a newlywed couple going into it, you got to go in it together. Yep. You got to sit down and discuss what you're doing, what your intentions are.
Set shared goals, not just your own goals, but shared.
That's right, shared goals.
Yes. And always remember you are a team.
Right.
Same goals.
Right.
Yes.
This has been an amazing podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
We have learned lots of things, and I will say this off camera. There's some things we'll discuss that you guys have. I've gotten some confirmation off of. So I really appreciate it. So before we end, is there anything else that you may want to give the viewers, the listeners? You want one last word you want to tell them?
I'll give you the honor.
I think I've pretty much said a lot, but just continue to be intentional. It's a daily thing. It's work, commitment, trust, respect, honor. Keep God at the center, and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say respect each other. Just that goes a long way. If you love someone, then you shouldn't have a problem doing all these other things, respecting, honor,
That's right.
Understanding, sharing, all of that comes with marriage. And so yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, we definitely thank y'all for coming on and giving us your time and gracing us with your presence. We've definitely been most appreciative of it, and it was a
You're
pleasure.
welcome. Thank you
Yeah.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, and
Appreciate it.
look forward. I haven't registered yet, but you can say that. But we look forward to seeing you at the conference.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll
Absolutely.
take care of
This
yes.
is that's
Good.
very
It's good news.
exciting.
Good news.
All right, so if viewers, if you would please like, share, subscribe, comment, please comment. I've been getting a lot of feedback in my text messages or phone calls, but I would love for you to comment your
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, and also if you have any ideas of topics that you may want us to discuss,
Yes.
leave them in the comments.
Yes. So
Because we can't think of everything. We want to we want to reach out and tap into some of y'all's ideas or whatnot. And maybe we can bring that up as a topic for some discussion in a later podcast. So if you will, again, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit that post notification icon so you can get updated on any new material that we may drop in the future. Don't forget, we also have these nice, lovely t-shirts, power couple t-shirts that you can purchase.
Yes.
We'll drop the link later on that you can go click on to George's website and go there. We also have books.
We have these.
Yes.
Yes. But if you are a married couple, don't forget, we still have registration is open until October the 5th. And if you register, you will get these lovely t-shirts and the devotional and the guided journal. So hopefully we'll see you all in Hoover, Alabama. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.